Hi there. In this video, I want to explain the reason why I am responding to Islamic claims. Because a lot of people might be wondering what exactly is the issue? Why focus on Islam? That's what I want to explain here. And so I want you to listen to me very attentively why I am focusing my energy on Islam. Uh, First of all, I love everybody. The Bible commands us to love. And so everybody includes Muslims too. So I love people. I want them to be saved. I believe that Jesus Christ is the Savior of the world. He is the Son of God. And Muslims are excluded by definition since they do not believe that since Islam does not believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, Muslims are excluded from the salvation of God. And I want them to be saved. That is my overriding passion, my overriding principle behind the videos that I do. And then I want to spend some time in this video to explain further why I do what I do. You see, Muslims need to know the truth. They need to know the truth. In an environment where nobody talks about, I'm going to talk about this later, when nobody talks about something, it is whatever everybody believes, whatever everybody holds on to, that they're going to end up dying with. Because nobody challenges, nobody explains anything, nobody asks any question. So Muslims too need to know the truth. Currently, they believe that what they are holding is the truth. They believe that it's the fact. And since they don't come across anyone, they don't even give attention to anybody that wants to explain anything to them. And so Muslims need to know the truth. And preaching the gospel is not enough for some Muslims. You can't simply walk up to them and start preaching the gospel. They're not going to listen to you. They have been taught that what they are holding, the Islam they're believing, is enough for them. That's what they have been taught. They have also been taught that some Muslims have been taught that whichever one you believe, whether you are a Christian or you are a Muslim, it doesn't matter. It's the same God. And the media, the stupid media, they have contributed to a large extent to this deception that whatever you believe, you are okay. So just hold on to whatever you believe is the same God that we're serving. Can anything be further from the truth? That despite all the contradictions between the two religions, despite the obvious differences between the two religions, that both are still from the same God and that you will end up in the same place. How could somebody believe that? And so when you go to them and you want to preach the gospel to them, they don't see any reason why you should preach the gospel to them. They don't see any reason. They say, I'm okay. What I believe is all right with me. To you, your religion, to me, my religion. That's what they will tell you. So just go your way. And they need to know the truth. They need to know that what they are carrying is fake. That is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so preaching the gospel to them, reading the Bible to them is not enough. Some other Muslims believe that the gospel is false, that your Bible has been corrupted, that you are carrying a fake religion all about. Some Muslims believe that. I'm not even talking about Dawa people. I'm talking about ordinary Muslims. They are not Dawa, but they have listened to their Dawa people, their imams, their sheikhs. They have listened to them so much that though they can't explain their Islam, nevertheless, they believe that Christianity is a false religion. It's an idolatrous religion. That's what they believe. And that's why you cannot preach to them. They're not going to listen. And someone must show them the error of what they believe. Somebody has to explain to them the error of what they believe. All right? What they believe, like the following, that there is only one Quran. Somebody needs to tell them that, no, that's wrong. This is one of the unique selling points of Islam. That there's only one Quran, and there are so many Bibles, but only one Quran. They have believed such things. You cannot go to them and preach the gospel while they are holding on to that. So no one can actually embrace something new unless he drops the old. And to be able to drop the old, you've got to show them that that old has holes in it, has error in it. And they believe that the Quran has been perfectly preserved. There's no contradiction in the Quran. Those are the things that they believe. And these things are wrong. These things are just lies. Somebody needs to explain these things to them. They believe that, that Muhammad, their prophet, lived a perfectly holy life. He lived a holy life. Even though they can't lay hands on anything, they can't point you to anything that makes them believe that. They simply believe that in their head, without any reason, without any evidence, no proof, nothing. But Muhammad lived a holy life. As you go into the hadiths, you see dirty things. So how will they listen to the gospel while they're believing that they're believing falsely that Muhammad lived a holy life, and that there was nothing wrong with Muhammad. It was the best of all messengers. It was the last prophet, the greatest of all prophets. They say he's the greatest, but they don't have any reason. They can't point to anything that makes him the greatest. So that's why we're doing what we're doing, because we love these Muslims and we want them to come out of the shackles, out of the bondage that they have found themselves in. They also believe things like Muhammad did miracles, just like Jesus Christ did miracles. They believe. They can't give you evidence, but they just believe that Muhammad did miracles. And we need to explain to them that these things are not true. So that's the first reason. Muslims need to know the truth and be saved. They need to know the truth. And preaching the gospel to them without first exposing the error of what they are holding will be ineffective. That's why a lot of people that go about saying they are preaching, they're not going to make any headway. They won't. You are just sowing your seed in the midst of a rock. It's not going to penetrate. The second reason why I'm doing this thing is this. You see, too few people are responding to Islamic claims. Compared to every other thing that we're doing as Christians, we don't have enough Christians that are responding to Islamic claims. We don't have enough. And so, after studying these things for years, I believe that I have the conviction that God has called me to do what I'm doing. So let's as many as they are, who are doing their fantastic jobs in other areas. They're preaching the gospel, they're doing crusades, they're evangelizing, they're distributing tracts, they're giving out Bibles, they are holding youth programs. All these things are good. There's nothing bad. Inviting people to Bible study and to revival hour and all that. Those things they're good. I'm okay with that. However, we don't have people that dedicate their own ministry to winning the souls of Muslims. We don't have them. And if we have at all, they are very, very few compared to other areas that Christians cover. That is why I believe God has called us to do this apologetics. And there are reasons we don't have a lot of people attending to Islam. I mean, a lot of Christians. There are reasons why we don't have a lot of Christians attending to Islam. One of the reasons is fear. Islam is very intimidating, very, very intimidating. And unless you are really called of God, and unless you have prepared adequately, you cannot respond to Islam. And so, not everybody can do it. Not everybody has the passion to do it. Not everybody has the vision to do it. Not everybody has the knowledge to do it. Not everybody has the call to do it. So I believe that some of us have to do these things on behalf of the others. So fear is one of the reasons we don't have a lot of people attending to Islamic claims. Another reason is ignorance. There is a lot of ignorance because of political correctness. Ignorance like, Abraham is the is the father of this, and this is the father of that, and so Ishmael, and Ishmael is the progenitor of all Arabs. Okay, and because of that, some people think that, well, Islam is a form of Abrahamic religion. It's ignorance. Some people believe that there's not much difference. There's not much difference between Islam and Christianity. What falsehood is this? There's not much difference. That it is actually from the same God. Some so-called Christians believe that we're serving the same God. And so while believing these things, they will not be able to preach adequately. They will not be able to preach effectively to Muslims. And ultimately, these Muslims will perish. All right? They will perish. So somebody needs to take that as their own ministry. I admit that Islam is very complex, very complicated. It's a web of confusion. Even Muslims themselves cannot untangle this web. It's so confusing. And some people need to dedicate their time, their talents, their energy, their resources to studying it with a view to reaching them with the gospel, reaching the Muslims with the gospel, preaching the gospel of Christ, bringing light to their darkness. And it's not going to be done by wishful thinking. It's not going to be done by just evangelizing. This is a specialized area of evangelism. And that's why we're doing this. And you've got to do some bombardment. You've got to trash. You've got to prove that what they are holding is nonsense. It's not going to be, they're not going to come and just believe that Jesus is the Son of God without showing them that Muhammad is a false prophet. I am not here to just talk trash. We're not here to, no. This is not a child's play. This is a matter of heaven or hell. And you've got to do it with all seriousness. And so people think we're not playing. We're not playing. Everything that I say here, I mean it. When I say Muhammad is a false prophet, I mean it. I'm not joking. I'm not insulting anybody. I don't want to insult people. So saying something doesn't mean that I'm insulting. Don't say he's blaspheming. I'm not blaspheming. That's what I believe. And I have reasons for believing all those things. If you think that I'm wrong, what you can do is to challenge me and say, okay, prove it. And that's what we're doing. That's exactly why we're doing this. Okay? So Islam is a web of confusion. It's a web. Majority of Muslims don't know what they're doing. They don't even know why they believe what they believe. You just see them wearing hijab here and there, wearing jalabia and having beard and all those things. They don't know what they're doing. They don't. They believe they know. When you go on social media, you're going to see them on Facebook, particularly the Nigerian Muslims, who are my own primary audience. They're my primary audience. Go on social media, go on Facebook, go everywhere. You see what they say. They just talk. Post memes and all those things. That's all they know. Ask them any simple question, they cannot answer because they don't understand Islam. And yet they will tell you that you don't know Islam. You don't know Islam. Okay, explain Islam. They cannot explain. One of the reasons that I've said that Muslims need to know the truth, they need to be saved. And I said that too few people focus their attention on Islam, on Muslims. That's why I had to join. And that the third one is this. I believe that Islam is the greatest antichrist movement on earth. It is the greatest antichrist movement on earth. That's not a small statement to make. And I said that with all sense of responsibility. I mean it with all of my heart. It is the greatest antichrist religion on earth. And if it is so, why is it that we divert all of our attention somewhere else and we just leave that? We don't respond to Islamic claims. Okay? Islam uses deception. Islam uses violence. Islam uses intimidation. Islam uses lying. Islam uses propaganda. Islam uses half-truths. Uses any method. Okay, Islam will tell you that we believe in Jesus. We believe in, they will even tell you that they know Jesus more than you. That is a deceptive tactic. It's an antichrist move. Because the devil himself is not going to come as angel of darkness. He's going to come as the angel of light. Just as Apostle Paul says. Or is it Apostle Peter now? Okay. Yeah. That the devil himself, I think it was Apostle Peter, he disguises himself as the angel of light. And so it shouldn't be surprising to us that even his apostles, they're also presenting themselves as the apostles of God. And Islam does that perfectly. It's an antichrist religion, but it's posing as religion of God, posing as the same thing with all the other prophets. However, when you look deeply, you will see that no, it's completely different. Which of the prophets did not talk about the Christ? Okay, they believe in Prophet Dawood, David. Okay, they believe in Prophet Musa, Moses. They believe in some other prophets. Which of these prophets did not talk about the Christ? And what did these prophets, what did they say about the Christ? David called him my Lord. David called Christ, his own descendant, called him my Lord. Because he knew very clearly, by the Spirit of God, he knew that although that Christ was to come through his own lineage, yet he knew that Christ was Lord, the Lord of heaven and earth. Okay, and therefore he worshipped him. How come? And other prophets like Isaiah said a son is given. All right? A child is born, a son is given us. And he said his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Prince of Peace. This is what the prophets said about the Christ. And in chapter 53 of Isaiah, he clearly outlined how this Messiah would die, would suffer and die. That when we behold him, we will not see any beauty in him as to desire him. But that this death was not for himself. He was wounded for our transgression. It was bruised for our iniquity. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we were healed. That he did not die for himself. And he predicted how he would die. He would die with the transgressors. He was nailed to the cross alongside. This was 700 years before Jesus Christ was born. And when Muhammad came 600 years after Christ, what did he say? All right? No, he was not the Son of God. He was not the Son of God. In the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verses 13 and 14, Daniel said it. This is the Son of Man that was brought to the Ancient of Days. And a kingdom was given him. And his kingdom was an everlasting kingdom. It shall never end. All nations, all languages, all tongues shall come before this Son of Man and worship him. And the Son of Man is different from the Ancient of Days. Jesus came and said, I am that Son of Man. And so the Pharisees and the Sanhedrin, the council of his time, who had studied some of the scriptures and knew that the Messiah was coming, knew that the Son of God was coming, knew who the Son of Man was, their problem was that Jesus was not that Son of Man. And so for Jesus to be claiming to be that Son of Man, they said he was blaspheming. Therefore, they crucified him. And somebody came 600 years later and said, no, Jesus is not the Son of God. He is not divine. He's just a prophet. Just a prophet. And all kinds of things. And so it is an antichrist movement. It's the most successful antichrist movement. And somebody needs to say that. Somebody needs to explain it. Somebody needs to give reasons for that. And we have a lot of Christians that cannot respond to that. They cannot because of the reasons that I've given. Fear, ignorance, and the need to untangle a lot of things, to spend a lot of time and resources to be able to study. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody can do that. So that is the reason we are responding to Islam. It is not to talk trash. It's not to just argue with people. No. It is, the Bible calls us that we should, when anybody asks of the reason of the hope that is in us, that we should be able to respond. We should be able to explain. And not only explaining our own side. Okay, challenge them too. Come and explain your own side. That is why we're focusing on Islam. So if you have any comments about this topic, or you want us to further discuss it, please drop your comments in the comment section down below. Thank you, and God bless you.